today we are going to go over the Mythics so far that have been leaked and spoiled for Core Set 2021. Some of these have not been officially spoiled yet, so if you want to only have official spoilers shown to you so far, then this would be a good time to like the video, subscribe, leave a comment, and then leave before we spoil anything for you. So we're only going to go over the Mythics here. So we've seen 9, I believe, of the presumably 15 Mythics. Sometimes you can get a bonus 16th Mythic in sets. You can't really go to 17 because of how the sheets work. I don't think 17 is a number they can do. But it's normally 15. So we're going to start off with one of the unofficial leaks here. This came in a package. There's this and the Chandra that was spoiled along with Ugin and Ugin and Baneslayer before they came out, and it had the Teferi as well. So they're confirmed right now. And the images, as you can see, are poor quality, which normally means they are real. So the white Planeswalker is the first time we've seen Basri Ket, I believe is how it's pronounced. 1 generic, 2 white. He starts at 3 loyalty. His +1 is put a +1/+1 counter up to 1 target creature. It gains indestructible until end of turn. -2, whenever 1 or more non-token creatures attack this turn, create that many 1/1 white soldier creature tokens that are tapped and attacking. And then his -6, you get an emblem with at the beginning of combat on your turn. Create a 1/1 white soldier creature token, then put a +1/+1 counter on that token. A +1/+1 counter on each creature you control. I'm looking at Mythic Spoilers, the easiest place right now to look at these. So he's gonna be pretty solid. It kind of really comes down to if there's a deck he fits into, what kind of white aggro strategies are going on. It's a weird spot right now because we know with when Zendikar releases in 3 months, that is going to push out Guilds of Ravnica, Ravnica Allegiance War, the Spark, and Core Set 2020. So when those 4 cards leave, it's really hard to know what the format's going to be, right? Like, this is the most kind of interesting moment for a set to come out because they get to play with 8 sets for about 3 months, and then suddenly it shrinks down to 5 sets. And the shrinking to 5 sets really kind of dictates what is playable because the card pool shrinking, lots of things become playable or become unplayable depending on the stuff moving around them. This is going to be pretty solid. I would expect to see it at least into some capacity. It might be a huge player depending on what other kind of white aggro stuff comes out. So we'll go to Teferi. This thing is pretty bonkers. I actually think it's going to be pretty busted, but let's look at that first. So it's 2 generic mana, 2 blue. He is a Teferi type walker. He has a passive. You may activate loyalty abilities of Teferi, Master of Time, on any player's turn anytime you could cast an instant. So if you're in a commander game, you can activate one of his loyalty abilities. You can still only do 1 loyalty ability a turn on every turn that's happening in the game, right? So if there's 5 players, you can do it on each of the 5 players' turns. So he starts at 3 loyalty, +1, draw a card, then discard a card, -3, target creature you don't control phases out. Phasing is a returning mechanic. It was kind of Teferi's thing. So it pretty much means you ignore a permanent and everything attached to it. You just think of it a lot like blinking, except you can't abuse leaves play and enter the plays of battle triggers with it, but other than that, nothing can interact with it. It's like it doesn't really exist, right? And then -10, take 2 extra turns after this one. Just being able to loot on every turn that happens is pretty amazing by itself. Like, if this was just an enchantment and you could draw a card and then discard a card when you wanted to do it during every player's turn, that would definitely be pretty good even for 4 blue mana. But then you throw in that you can phase something out, just make it act like it doesn't exist. So in response to them drawing, you can phase out their walker so they can't activate their walker or do anything to it. Yeah, because treat it and anything attached to it. So, I mean, they wouldn't be able to plus or minus their walker. They can't attack with creatures. And you can plus them during your turn, minus them during your opponent's turn, and so he gets to protect himself for free. But then on your turn, you would plus again. He'd go to 2. You could only really stall for 1 turn with just him. But you throw in some things like maybe it's a blue-green shell and you have a Boreal Grazer who's pretty good at blocking, or you're playing Bertha Meletus, which puts the wall token into play. Very easy to protect him. This guy's getting a ton of play. I actually think he's probably the best card we've seen. Okay, Liliana, Walker of the Dead. 2 generic, a 2 black. Starts at 4 loyalty, +1. Each player discards a card. Each opponent who can't loses 3 life. -3. Target creature gets -X till end of turn, where X is the number of cards in your graveyard. -7. You get an emblem with, at the beginning of combat on your turn, per target creature card from a graveyard into the battlefield under your control, it gains haste. So, obviously, the ultimate -7, that's really good. It's going to end the game a lot of the times if you get the emblem. The creature control, the target creature gets -X until end of turn, where X is the number of cards in your graveyard. That's definitely good. It synergizes with the +1 in general, with a lot of things going around. Having a couple things in your yard. Like, we do have 1 fetch and Fable Passage. So, I mean, you're going to be able to pretty reliably, probably -2 at least if you play it on 4, maybe more, depending on what else your deck is doing. It's solid removal because it's always -3 loyalty, but then the -X can be a lot more. It's a pretty good piece of removal. So, the +1 is the real reason you'd be playing her, though, right? Each player discards a card. Each opponent can't loses 3 life. This is obviously pretty close to Liliana of the Veil. The biggest difference, though, 3 to 4 mana is pretty huge. Because having to wait that whole extra turn, it means that there's another opportunity for them to build up board pressure, and you're not able to like lock down their hand as much as you can before. There's not a ton of abusable things with her right now, I don't believe. Nothing really jumps to mind. Nothing super amazing that you want to discard. Like, there's a bunch of things you don't mind discarding, but I don't know if there's a ton of things you really want to discard right now. Like, it's definitely a discard outlet if your plan is just to reanimate stuff. So a part of a reanimator shell, obviously it has a lot more synergy, but I'm just talking like in general, if we're just playing like a pile of good stuff, how many just generic good cards want to be in the yard? None at the exact moment. There are a bunch of cards that don't care if they're in the yard. It's definitely a powerful effect, and we don't know what else is coming. She wouldn't leave until October 2021, so there's a lot of sets that could come that give her a lot more abusable things. She's definitely playable, but it's going to kind of come down to is mid-range kind of something you want to play. Is it going to have enough tools to make it work anyway? Definitely not filler. I mean, not bad, but I'm not sold. She's not as strong as Liliana of the Veil, which seems a ton of modern play, right? Very good modern card. I don't think she's that strong, but we'll have to see. So this is the Buy a Box promo. Rain and Seri, Inseparable. That's official. Dogs are now a creature type in Magic the Gathering. Finally, all hounds have been added to dog. I don't believe there's anything else that got the change to dog. Just hounds became dogs. This is the Buy a Box promo, so it's going to only be in foil. Unless you get a regular non-foil version will be in the collector's box. So the only way to get this is to buy a box at your local game store the pre-release weekend for Core 2021, or to buy collector's packs and hope you get it in the slot. I believe this just might appear any place a rare and mythic can, because the Core 2021 pack is structured pretty differently. I don't think there's a straight up ancillary slot. There might be. I'd have to double check that. But anyway, talking about this one generic, a red, green, and white, 4/4 for a legendary creature cat dog. Oh, I'm sorry, dog cat. Dog goes first. Whenever you cast a dog spell, create a 1/1 green cat creature token. Whenever you cast a cat spell, create a 1/1 white dog creature token. Red, green, white, tap. Rin and Seri deals damage to any target equal to the number of dogs you control. You gain life equal to the number of cats you control. It's okay. I mean, it's obviously made probably for commander. It's made for cat, dog, commander. Cats and dogs are going to do cool stuff. There's a lot of good hounds in black and some cats in black. Blue also has some cats that are cool. So, like, I really hope cats and dogs going forward, they still keep them in all 5 colors. I mean, card looks incredibly cute. Other than that, I would assume it's not going to do anything in standard or really any constructed format. Yeah, I would assume not. Okay, so let's get to a card everybody's going absolutely bonkers about. Mangara the Diplomat. So the first time we saw him in card form was way back in Time Spiral block. This time he's still in white, still mono white, 3 generic, 1 white, 2/4, lifelink. He is legendary. Okay, whenever an opponent attacks with creatures, if 2 or more of those creatures are attacking you and or planeswalkers you control, draw a card. Whenever an opponent casts their second spell each turn, draw a card. So this is made for commander. It could be your commander. It could just be in the 99. It's absolutely bonkers in commander. It's amazing. A lot of people question the wording. So, like, the reason it's worded this way is it's to be clear that anytime an opponent attacks, as long as 2 creatures are coming at you, some combination of you or the planeswalkers you control. So it could be 1 at you, 1 at your Mind Sculptor. That's fine. That will trigger because it's total of 2 or more. And they want to be clear, it has to be at you. So if it's 1 creature at you, but like 3 creatures at Timmy and 77 creatures at Polly, that's like fine. That does not trigger it because there's only 1 total creature coming at you. He's going to be absolutely amazing in Commander. I think he can definitely see some play in Standard. He might see a lot of play. It's kind of really hard to tell. Mid-range at the moment doesn't really exist. The bans just happened on Monday. And we're going to get the Core 2021 in 3 weeks. So, I mean, it's going to be a really chaotic moment to try and talk about if anything's going to be good or not good in Standard. I think it can definitely be a good sideboard card. I think it might be a good main deck card, depending on what else is running around. In Best of 1 on Arena, I could definitely see wanting to play some of this main board because some decks just won't have an answer to it. Lava Coil is the main 4 damage red removal spell that people are running right now, and it leaves when Zendikar comes out. So, I mean, they pretty much have to answer it if they're playing any kind of aggro strategy. Like, Green Stompy doesn't... they play some fight stuff. So I guess all those decks might have ways to get rid of it, but they have to get rid of it like right now or just like slow it down. It bizarrely hoses all those like jank decks that are trying to play red-blue, play a bunch of instants and sorcery stuff, the Pyromancer kind of builds. This card is going to be very sought after. Every Commander player is going to want access to one of it. People are going to want to build around it. This is going to be one of the most sought after cards. I don't think it's the most powerful. I think that still is Master of Time, but this is definitely going to be something you would not be unhappy to open. Okay, so the next 2 mythics are reprints. So Baneslayer Angel, 3 generic, 2 white, 5/5, flying first strike, lifelink, pro demons, pro dragons. It's Baneslayer. It's really good. It's probably going to see some play. Whether or not, how much play it sees is going to be purely dictated by kind of the format around it. A lot of people have talked about how something like Baneslayer Angel might be kind of unplayable in the format as the Standard we've had recently because it comes into play, doesn't immediately do anything. Permanents that cost 4 and 5 mana right now have to like almost practically win you the game to be on par. It's still an amazing, solid creature, though. The protections at the moment, I don't really think there's many demons or dragons running around that one matter. I mean, it's going to be a great card. I would not be surprised to see it played a lot. I do think at the moment, the way the current decks function, it's not going to see a ton of play. Fires would have been the even if Fires was still around, I don't think this would be the best 5 mana card really. Like it not having an enter the battlefield trigger right now kind of puts it way behind a lot of other cards. But definitely this is one I would expect right now not to see a ton of play, and then when Zendikar comes in and pushes out those 4 sets, then I definitely think it can profit a lot more. A lot of those bigger creatures go away. A lot of the immediately play big stuff, get an effect, goes away. At the moment, I mean, it's going to be fun. You're definitely going to see it played a lot. Or you're going to see it play. The question is how much, and is it really going to be in a tier 1 deck? Only time can tell. Grim Tutor. Huge reprint. Everybody's been wanting it reprint for a while. 1 generic, 2 black, search your library for a card, put the card into your hand, then shuffle your library, you lose 3 life. Oh, the Liliana, by the way, the opponent, if they don't have a card, losing 3 life, that is really important. But like, I feel that if they're already hellbent, that you've probably won the game. So it's not like the biggest deal, but it is nice that the +1 is a win con, potentially. But anyway, back to Grim Tutor, you lose 3 life. So this card's amazing. The difference between this and Diabolical Tutor, being able to look for any card on 3 is massively better than doing it on 4. This card's really good. It's definitely going to want to pick up some copies of it. I mean, there's not a whole lot to say. It's a known thing. I think this, does it make it modern legal? I think this is the first printing that will make it modern legal. So, is it good enough for modern? Probably not. Maybe a little fringe play. Modern's kind of hard to say. I don't know modern extremely well. It's definitely, it's always going to be something you're going to want to keep in the back of your mind. I don't think it will immediately see a ton of play in modern. Maybe it will. Maybe I'm just not thinking of what would do it. Okay, so another one of the cards that came out in that batch that at this point is confirmed true. A Massacre reprint is coming. 3 generic, 3 black, 6/5. When Massacre Worm enters the battlefield, the creatures your opponent control get -2/-2 until end turn. Whenever a creature your opponent controls dies, that player loses 2 life. Really solid card. It's a finisher. I'm not sure if it's going to be good enough. It kind of depends on how much heavy black is being played. It's definitely a good finisher. It could be the best finisher black has access to. We're just going to have to wait and see. It's a very fun, very casual card. Commander audience would really like it. Like, I'm glad to see it back. It's never been super, super amazing. It's normally, I remember when this originally came out was Scars of Mirrodin block, and Wormcoil Engine just like pushed it out, because like you would just play Wormcoil Engine over Massacre Worm unless you wanted the board wipe portion, because it's only -2/-2 to your opponent's creatures. Obviously that's really good. Definitely a good card. How much play it sees is just going to depend on kind of the meta. Okay, so we have 2 mythics left. It's the 2 color, or we actually have 3 mythics left. They are not showing the Chandra that got spoiled that we know is real. Give me 1 second. Let me have it over here on my other screen. Because the picture for it's really bad, but like it was clearly in the same Photoshop as Ugin before Ugin was spoiled, so we know it's real. It's called Chandra, Heart of Fire, 3 generic, red. Starry Loyalty is 5. +1, discard your hand, exile the top 3 cards of your library. You may play cards exiled this way until the end of your turn. +1, Chandra Heart of Fire deals 2 damage to any target. -9, search your graveyard and library for any amount of instant and or sorcery spells, exile them, then shuffle your library. You may cast them this turn. Add 6 red. The ultimate's pretty good. You should be able to win if you get it off on that turn. It also has the 6 red. So, I mean, you can search your library and graveyard for any amount of instants or sorceries. So, I mean, you should easily be able to get enough burn to just kill your opponent using that. Two pluses, both for 5 red. The deal 2 damage to any target is kind of meh. Discard your hand, exile the top 3 cards of your libraries. You can play any cards exiled this way until end of turn. I mean, it's solid. I think for, it's kind of a problem with like the whole meta right now is for 5 mana, she can ping for 2 the term she comes into play, or you can discard your hand, but then you can't really use those 3 cards because this effect is only until the end of the turn. Those 3 cards you see, you only get the turn you activate the ability. So, I mean, if you untap with her, you're going to be miles ahead. You're going to be able to have gas, board control. But right now, 5 mana to something that doesn't do anything right this moment doesn't feel strong enough. I would expect this card not to see a ton of play right out of the gates because with the other 4 sets still in play, I think it kind of gets pushed out from being relevant right now. Right now, the mono red decks aren't going to play anything that costs 5. It doesn't do enough to justify it. After they rotate out and Zendikar comes in, this would definitely be one of the cards that might suddenly go up in how much it's played and its playability. Because I do think the effects are strong. It's just a question of really can it find a home in the current environment and decks. At the moment, I definitely don't think it's going to happen until rotation. Once rotation happens, though, it definitely could profit a lot. I mean, right now it's the same cost as Luca, and Luca is a lot more abusable with things that are in the format right now. So I don't really see you wanting to play this. I do like it, like in general. I think the card is designed well, but I don't think it has a home in standard right now. Okay, so Ugin the Spirit Dragon is getting reprinted. 8 colorless mana, or 8 generic, sorry. 7 loyalty plus 2. Ugin Spirit Dragon deals 3 damage to any target, -X each. Exile each permanent with convert mana costs X or less. That's 1 or more colors. -10. You gain 7 life, draw 7 cards, and put 7 permanent cards from your hand onto the battlefield. He's Ugin the Spirit Dragon. He's amazing. I think with the ramp that we have available right now, he's going to be absolutely bonkers. I think he's going to see a lot of play. He is definitely something I would expect to see a ton of play before rotation when the best ramp is. There's a rumor that some of those leaks said that we are going to get Birds of Paradise. If Birds of Paradise is in the set, expect ramp to be even way better. And you just ramp up to Ugin, resolve Ugin, GG, weave in a Teferi Time Raveler there somewhere. You're going to be good to go. This is going to see a ton of play right now and probably will even after rotation. That is going to be the big control shell finisher. Okay, 1 mythic left. 7 generic mana, chromatic orrery, legendary artifact. You may spend mana as though it were mana of any color. Tap, add 5 colorless mana. 5 generic, and tap, draw a card for each color among permanents you control. So if you get to 7 and you resolve this, I mean, this card is for Commander. It's going to be really good in Commander where it's slower, it's dirtily, the mana fixing is relevant, it being able to put you, like, even if you use, like, turn, like, just stuff that generates mana only for that turn to get this out, it then provides 5 of itself, so it's really good to even get ramp into or cheat out. And then it also lets you draw cards. I mean, it's a late game engine that'll keep your deck going. It's definitely going to be really good. Yeah, I mean, not much to say about it. Could this see play in standard or like even Pioneer or Modern? I can't think of any deck that immediately can abuse this in Pioneer. There's probably something they can do really dumb stuff with in Modern. I don't know if Urza wants to play this. I don't think so. Cards definitely I see a ton of play in Commander. Probably not much in Standard. Unless things get really weird. Because, I mean, do you want to ramp and play Chromatic Orrery right now? Or ramp one more and then play Ugin as far as Standard goes? But that card's definitely good. Okay. That is all the mythics we've seen so far. I'm going to make another video going over the rares. It's only 2 days into spoiler season, but we got a couple of those mythics that were leaked, so we were able to see all that. Anyway, remember to leave a like and a comment, subscribe if you want to, and thanks for dropping by the corner. Everyone stay safe. You guys have a good day. Bye-bye.